Hey guys, Sean Klinger with Vital MX. Today we're looking at our 2019 Suzuki RM-Z250. It's kind of a long haul project build that we've done. Like I've said before, me personally, I really like this bike from the 250F shootout. Some of the things that we did to this bike, it's more of a budget build. It's not like throw your whole wallet at this machine to make it better. If you're already buying a new bike, they're not cheap. And we kind of took it piece by piece to add things as we went to see how we liked it. So one of the first things that we did was put on the Pro Circuit pipe. With a lot of modern bikes, pipes sometimes just shift the power around, don't really increase the power because stock exhaust pipes are pretty good these days. Kind of interesting with the Suzuki is that it has kind of an old school kind of power character stock, and so a full system actually helped out a lot. Immediately what I noticed when we put it on was that it kind of shifted the power. Stock power is very bottom heavy, and then once you get in the mid, it still makes good power, but it really signs off after the mid-range. With this pipe, it actually shifted the power a little bit higher. You didn't have this immediate snap off the bottom, but what it did was it moved it to like the middle of the bottom end, I would say, and then increased the power in the mid-range and increased throttle response in the mid-range and at the top. So where the stock power, you'd be in the mid-range or coming out of a turn and you kind of hit the meat of the power, and then it really didn't matter what you did with the throttle. Even if you whacked it wide open, it really didn't respond well, where this pipe, just the pipe alone, gave it more response. I felt like I could give it more power, it would respond, and I would get an increase in RPM from the mid into the top range. So that really helped out the bike, wake it up, feel more exciting, more usable. I can use each gear a little bit longer. Then we also put a Pro Circuit piston in there, and it's a high compression piston. And this, I think, added a little bit more bottom end. I mean, it added power across the board, but it kind of, where the pipe alone shifted the power up, adding the piston in there kind of boosted the torquey feel back to the bottom, but it is moving in the right direction. The next step obviously would be to get an ECU, and you can play with the maps there. Next, we had Pro Circuit do the suspension. They actually, based on my weight, which is about 215, they went up a spring rate in the fork, and originally that was too stiff for me. I rode it, I felt like there was a little bit more comfort, but the fork was just, it was a 0.54 spring rate, which was just really high. I wasn't getting into the stroke as much as I wanted to. There was a lot of harshness still. We actually put the stock springs back in there. They have a great valving spec for this fork. It has so much comfort and plushness, but it also has the holdup that I'm looking for. Out back, the shock, it actually, a lot of times bikes, because of my weight, I kind of get a chopper feeling, and we have to adjust it a lot to try to get balance with the shock redone for me. There's great balance of the bike, definitely a little bit nose down, which I prefer. I'm a front end steering kind of guy. So balance of the bike, really great. I really enjoy the suspension. We also put the JGR link in the shock. I think that also helped the bike settle. I feel overall just more control, more balance, front to rear with the suspension done and the link. So we put the Maxxis MX ST tires on here, and the rear has a nice kind of soft compound, and it hooks up great here at Milestone. Worked really well. The front has a lot of grip, but there's certain parts where it's a little inconsistent. Lean the bike over and I'd have confidence it would grip, and then if you go just a tiny bit too far, that kind of wiggle room between traction and no traction is very narrow. But overall, the tires work pretty well for this bike. The look of the bike is a little different. Nobody makes green plastics for a Suzuki. I kind of wanted a Pro Circuit vibe in a budget way, so we got white plastics and talked to Era about doing some graphics in kind of a Pro Circuit race bike theme, and really love the gold leaf that they put in there. That's a really nice touch. Overall, this bike is basically what you're gonna see out of the 2020. There's no changes for the next year's model. This definitely makes this bike more competitive. Just the pipe, the piston, getting the suspension redone, moves it into a realm where I feel like it's more competitive with the other bikes in the class. If you're gonna go full on, try to race this bike, The next step would get an ECU to maybe even liven it up a little bit more. The JGR stuff we've tested is a good way to go. We really like that. Comparably, I would say these are close. The JGR might have an extra edge just because they're even crisper, quicker revving than this bike alone. But overall, I really like the way that this turned out. For more 2020 bike tests and more project bikes, check out vinyl max.com. If you're on YouTube, click the subscribe button, and thanks for watching.